Well, unborn babies at risk of abortion and women with unsupported pregnancies now have no voice in the Liberal and National parties. Those who want to advocate publicly have been gagged after Peter Dutton last week banned MPs and Senators from talking about human rights for unborn babies. According to leaks from the party room, later verified by a coalition spokesperson, the issue of abortion lost votes at the Queensland election, and therefore even advocating care for babies born alive after abortion is now banned. I think that's a dubious analysis by the coalition hardheads. Now, this is, as I say, it's debatable, and it's clear that Kamala Harris lost her bid for the US presidency despite making abortion to birth her signature women's policy. In fact, it was pretty much the only policy that she put forward during the election campaign, apart from Donald Trump is evil and we need abortion. I was amazed at how high profile that issue was, but it didn't win her vote. She even lost white women who voted for Trump more than for her. Now, the issue of abortion is not the kryptonite that the bedwetters in the coalition think it is. People can be persuaded, particularly on the issue of late-term abortion. Peter Dutton's edict means his members are no longer free to advocate for the Born Alive bill, which Senators Alex Antic, Matt Canavan and Senator Ralph Babet have been pushing. This is proposed legislation to ensure babies who survive the abortion attempt on their lives, about one per week in Australia, are given medical care instead of just being left to die, as is the current practice. It's a grisly business, the abortion business, sadly. There are indications Senator Canavan may partially defy Peter Dutton and push the bill regardless, but he has, again sadly, agreed with Dutton that abortion won't be an issue at the upcoming federal election. At least that's what the media has reported him as saying. Now, Dutton is either ignorant or is unmoved by the tears of the whistleblower midwife Louise Adset, who told a Queensland parliamentary inquiry of multiple cases of late-term babies surviving their abortion, gasping for breath for hours before they died.
This is not an uncommon occurrence. Just recently, a mother decided to abort her baby at 19 weeks. The same misoprostol regime was started, and this little baby was born alive again, moving, gasping for air, and having a palpable heart rate, and once again over 400 grams.
Now, as I said before, the coalition wrongly, in my view, believes that the LNP lost votes at the Queensland election as Labor ran a scare campaign which conveniently ignored the issue of late-term abortion, which polling shows is opposed by most Queenslanders. That's YouGov polling, a very respectable polling company, but the media never talk about that. Instead of seeking to persuade Queenslanders of the brutality of Labor's abortion to birth laws, the leader, David Crisafulli, now Premier, imposed a clumsy gag on his MPs and candidates, and that meant the issue became a dominant issue in the lead up to the election. Now, Dutton is making the same silly mistake. No parliamentarian or party member should be forced to support abortion, particularly late-term abortion, but it appears the coalition is now on a unity ticket with the Greens and Labor in trashing the human rights of our most vulnerable. This is a seismic shift for the coalition, whose Conservative members have been proactively recruiting pro-life Christians and Conservatives all over the country on the promise that they could make headway within the Liberal and National parties for the pro-life cause. Well, Dutton just hit that on the head. The 9 newspapers which broke the story reported a rare party room leak. And I quote from the 9 newspapers. One MP who spoke on the condition of anonymity said Dutton told the joint party room that the issue was largely not a federal one and the debate had been done and dusted in the past. We will not be changing our position. It cost us votes in Queensland, in metropolitan seats in particular. The reaction from women was visceral. The MP recalled Dutton saying, "It's fair to say he laid down the law, there will be no change to abortion laws, and he reminded us that we all need to be disciplined." The Australian Financial Review also confirmed the leak, reporting the following comments from a coalition spokesperson. He, Dutton, made the point that while it was an issue in the state election, it was not something that we could address in the federal parliament, and so attempts by Labor to draw us off in that area should be seen as exactly what they are, a distraction, end quote. Now, this last point is, of course, a lie. It is the federal government that forces even pro-life Australians who have a conscientious objection to abortion, forces us to fund abortion through our Medicare levies. And it's the federal government that regulates the human pesticide RU486, the abortion drug, which is now the most common method for killing babies using that chemical substance. 5% of women who take the abortion drug suffer complications, some of which are life-threatening. Again, the media don't talk about this. It's unspeakably sad that the coalition views the killing of unborn babies and the coercion of women by so many men to kill their babies as a distraction. The issue flared after a journalist asked Northern Territory Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price for her views on abortion. She said this, and I quote, "Late term is anywhere past the first trimester as far as I'm concerned. Full term becomes infanticide and I cannot agree with that," Senator Price said. Good on her. She, of course, is right. We have abortion all the way to birth in this country, and for Peter Dutton to say that his senators and members can't talk about that is unconscionable. Now, for this truth bomb, Nampijinpa-Price was slapped down by the Deputy Liberal leader, Susan Ley. The abortion extremists in the Albanese government also seized on Dutton's edict, with the Women's Minister, Katie Gallagher, calling on pro-life senators Matt Canavan and Alex Antic to drop their Human Rights Children Born Alive Protection Bill 2022, which would require medical practitioners to provide treatment to babies born alive as a result of the abortion attempts on their lives. Now, despite overwhelming medical evidence and first-hand testimony from midwives like ADSET that babies are routinely surviving late-term abortions and being left to die, Gallagher wants the Born Alive bill buried. She says it is dangerous, but the only danger is that it risks turning public opinion against the grisly abortion industry, which Labor, the Greens, and now the Coalition are running a protection racket for. Sadly, Antic and Canavan went to ground as the media pursued them in the wake of last week's party room meeting. Only Canavan has spoken to say he would not withdraw the Born Alive bill, and good on him for that. But sadly, he did say that he would support Dutton's call for the issue to be left out of the federal election campaign. Sadly, it appears the Coalition has crossed a Rubicon and thrown in the towel on the issue of human rights for unborn babies.